The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of March 1620 promise a whirlwind of shocking discoveries, emotional confrontations, and dangerous missions that will leave Genoa City reeling. As secrets explode and alliances are tested, several key players will find themselves pushed to their limits. Relationships will fracture, old wounds will reopen, and a risky plan in Las Vegas could change everything for the Newman family. The week begins with a devastating moment that will shake the Abbott family to its core. Diane Jenkins Abbott walks into a scene she never expected to witness, and the sight before her immediately fills her with rage and heartbreak. There, in the bedroom, she finds Jack Abbott in bed with Patty Williams. The discovery feels like a brutal betrayal. Diane has spent years fighting for her place beside Jack and rebuilding trust within the Abbott family. Seeing him tangled in such a compromising situation with Patty is almost too much to bear. From Diane's perspective, there's no logical explanation for what she's seeing. All she can see is the man she loves seemingly betraying her with a woman who has brought chaos and instability into their lives before. Jack, however, is just as stunned by the situation himself. The truth behind the moment is far darker than Diane realizes. Victor Newman's elaborate scheme has pushed things to an extreme level. Jack was manipulated and drugged as part of Victor's plan to humiliate him and regain control over the Newman empire. But at this moment, Jack has no opportunity to explain any of that. Diane's fury erupts instantly. Hurt and humiliation combine into one explosive reaction, and she slaps Jack across the face for what she believes is a disgusting betrayal. The emotional tension escalates further when Billy Abbott and Kyle Abbott arrive and witness the aftermath of the shocking discovery. Both men are left speechless by what they see. Jack has always been the moral center of the Abbott family, someone who prides himself on integrity and loyalty. Seeing him in such a compromising situation with Patty leaves them deeply unsettled. Billy is particularly shaken. While he has had his own complicated relationship with Jack over the years, he still looks up to his brother in many ways. Watching the scene unfold makes Billy question everything he thought he knew. Kyle also struggles to process the moment. His relationship with Diane has been complicated in the past, but seeing his mother in so much pain ignites his protective instincts. He wants answers, but Jack is in no position to provide them right now. Despite the chaos, Billy manages to make a phone call to Tracy Abbott to let her know that Jack has been found and is physically safe. The news brings Tracy an enormous sense of relief. She had been deeply worried about Jack after the dangerous circumstances surrounding his disappearance. At the time of Billy's call, Tracy happens to be with Nikki Newman. As soon as Tracy hears that Jack has been located, she immediately shares the update. Nikki listens carefully as Tracy explains what has happened. While Nikki is relieved that Jack is alive, the story quickly takes a troubling turn when Tracy begins to explain the bizarre circumstances surrounding his discovery. Nikki realizes that Victor's actions have once again created a storm that will impact nearly everyone in Genoa City. Elsewhere, Nick Newman is about to learn just how far his father has gone. When Nick discovers that Victor actually orchestrated Jack's abduction as part of his larger strategy to reclaim the Newman empire, he is furious. Nick has always had a complicated relationship with Victor. While he respects his father's strength and determination, he has often struggled with Victor's ruthless tactics. This time, however, Victor's actions cross a line that Nick cannot ignore. The idea that Victor would go so far as to abduct someone and manipulate events so cruelly leaves Nick deeply disturbed. But despite his anger, Nick doesn't have the luxury of focusing on Victor's schemes for long. A far more immediate threat demands his attention. Nick is preparing to leave for Las Vegas with Adam Newman, where the two brothers plan to confront Matt Clark. The situation with Matt has grown increasingly dangerous, and both Adam and Nick know that they must act quickly if they want to stop him. Their mission is risky, but neither man is willing to back down. Nick may be dealing with personal struggles, including lingering physical pain and a growing reliance on medication, but he refuses to let those issues derail the mission. Matt Clark is too dangerous to ignore, and Nick believes it's his responsibility to put an end to the threat. Adam, meanwhile, is fully aware that their plan will require careful strategy and nerves of steel. Once the brothers arrive in Las Vegas, they waste no time getting to work. Sin City offers the perfect environment for shadowy dealings and secretive meetings. It's here that Adam begins reaching out to a woman named Reza Thompson. Reza has connections to Matt Clark and the world he operates in. Adam knows that if he can convince her to cooperate, she could become a crucial piece in their plan to bring Matt down. Adam approaches the situation carefully. He understands that Reza may not trust him immediately, but he hopes to use their shared history to his advantage. If he can establish enough trust, she might help set up a confrontation between Nick and Matt. The stakes are incredibly high. If the plan works, Matt Clark could finally be taken off the board, but if it fails, the consequences could be devastating. Back in Genoa City, Chelsea Lawson begins to worry about Adam's involvement in the Vegas mission. She knows Adam better than almost anyone, and the idea of him revisiting his past under the identity of Spider fills her with dread. Adam's past is filled with dark chapters, and Chelsea fears that stepping back into that world could awaken parts of him that he has worked hard to leave behind. She can't shake the feeling that Adam may be heading down a dangerous path once again. As the tension builds in Las Vegas, trouble is also brewing within the Newman household. Victor and Nikki's marriage has already been under enormous strain, but the latest revelations threaten to push them even further apart. When Nikki learns that Jack has been rescued and hears the details surrounding Victor's involvement, she confronts her husband directly. The argument quickly spirals into a bitter confrontation. Nikki refuses to accept Victor's justification for his actions, and Victor refuses to back down. Their clash grows increasingly heated until Victor ultimately orders Nikki to leave the house. For Nikki, the moment is both painful and humiliating. Being thrown out by the man she has stood beside for so many years is a devastating blow. Meanwhile, the fallout from Jack's scandalous situation continues to ripple through the Abbott family. Diane, still reeling from what she witnessed, finds herself unable to remain in the Abbott mansion. Every corner of the house reminds her of the betrayal she believes she has suffered. Unable to face Jack or the painful memories attached to the home, Diane decides to leave the mansion altogether. She makes arrangements to stay in a suite at the GCAC, hoping that some distance will help her process everything that has happened. But even as she leaves, the questions and doubts continue to haunt her. Was Jack truly capable of betraying her like that? Or is there more to the story than what she saw? The answers may change everything. Meanwhile, tensions rise elsewhere in Genoa City when Kane Ashby and Nate Hastings cross paths at Crimson Lights. Their encounter quickly turns tense as unresolved issues bubble to the surface. Both men have strong opinions about recent events, and neither is willing to back down. The conversation becomes increasingly heated, drawing attention from those nearby. As the confrontation unfolds, another important conversation is about to take place. Sally Spectre approaches Billy Abbott with something important on her mind. She believes that Billy has been avoiding an issue that needs to be addressed. His relationship with Jill Abbott has been strained for far too long, and Sally thinks it's time for him to take responsibility for repairing it. Billy has always had a complicated dynamic with his mother. Their history is filled with disagreements, disappointments, and emotional distance. But Sally sees the situation differently. She believes that Billy still has a chance to rebuild that bond if he's willing to make the effort. Sally gently but firmly encourages Billy to reach out to Jill and start the process of reconciliation. Billy listens carefully, clearly torn between pride and regret. Deep down, he knows Sally may be right. Yet taking that first step won't be easy. Meanwhile, another surprising development is unfolding when Lauren Fenmore Baldwin unexpectedly approaches Phyllis Summers. Phyllis is caught completely off guard by Lauren's sudden interest in her proposal. Not long ago, Phyllis offered to work with Lauren, suggesting they might form a powerful partnership. At the time, the idea seemed uncertain at best. But now Lauren's reaction suggests that she may actually be considering the offer. If Lauren decides to move forward with Phyllis, the partnership could dramatically shift the business landscape in Genoa City. Phyllis, of course, is thrilled by the possibility. Yet with Phyllis involved, there's always the chance that things could become unpredictable. As the week continues, the tension across multiple storylines continues to rise. And just when it feels like things might explode, viewers will face an unexpected pause. The Young and the Restless will be preempted on Thursday, March 19 and Friday, March 20 due to CBS Sports coverage of March Madness. While the interruption may delay the drama temporarily, the events leading up to the break promise to deliver plenty of jaw-dropping moments. Secrets are unraveling, alliances are shifting, and the consequences of Victor Newman's actions are only beginning to unfold. By the time the dust settles, several lives in Genoa City may never be the same again. Part 2. As the fallout from Victor Newman's ruthless scheme spreads through Genoa City, the emotional damage continues to deepen. For many characters, the week becomes a turning point where trust is shattered, loyalties are questioned, and difficult choices must be made. Jack Abbott remains at the center of the storm. After the shocking discovery that left Diane devastated, Jack struggles to make sense of the situation himself. The effects of the drug Victor used are beginning to fade, but the consequences of what happened are only just beginning. Jack knows that Diane believes she caught him betraying her with Patty Williams. The image Diane witnessed is impossible to erase, and Jack fears that no explanation will be enough to repair the damage. He desperately wants to tell her the truth, that he was manipulated, drugged, and placed in a humiliating position as part of Victor's revenge. Yet even as he prepares to explain everything, he knows the situation looks terrible. From Diane's perspective, the scene she walked in on felt undeniable. At the GCAC, Diane sits alone in her suite trying to steady her emotions. Anger, heartbreak, and confusion swirl inside her mind. For years, she fought to earn acceptance within the Abbott family again. Her relationship with Jack felt like the reward for all that effort. Now that relationship appears to be collapsing. Diane keeps replaying the moment in her mind, the sight of Jack and Patty together, the shock that struck her like lightning, and the overwhelming humiliation she felt. Even if Jack claims he was drugged, Diane wonders whether she can truly believe him. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. Back at the Abbott mansion, Kyle attempts to make sense of everything that has happened. His loyalty to his mother is strong, but he also knows Jack well enough to question whether the situation is truly what it appears to be. Kyle begins to suspect that something more complicated may be at play. Billy shares similar doubts. Although the situation looks terrible on the surface, Billy can't shake the feeling that Victor Newman might somehow be involved. Victor has a long history of targeting Jack whenever their rivalry escalates. If Victor orchestrated this humiliating situation, the consequences could ripple far beyond the Abbott family. Meanwhile, Victor remains as confident as ever in his strategy. For Victor, the entire operation was designed to weaken Jack and reclaim control over the Newman empire. In Victor's mind, the end justifies the means. However, Nikki refuses to accept that justification. After being forced out of the Newman ranch house, Nikki struggles to cope with the emotional fallout of her latest confrontation with Victor. She has stood beside him through countless battles over the years, but this time his actions may have pushed her too far. Nikki feels deeply disappointed by Victor's willingness to hurt others in order to achieve his goals. Their marriage has survived many storms, but this one feels different. The distance between them continues to grow. Elsewhere, the high-stakes mission unfolding in Las Vegas becomes increasingly dangerous. Adam Newman and Nick Newman move carefully as they attempt to close in on Matt Clark. every step of the plan must be executed with precision. Adam's contact with Reza Thompson proves to be a crucial development. Reza remains cautious at first, unsure whether she should trust Adam's intentions. The world she inhabits is filled with deception, and she has learned to protect herself from manipulation. However, Adam reminds her of the history they share. He speaks honestly about the dangers Matt Clark represents and the damage Matt could cause if he continues operating unchecked. Slowly, Reza begins to consider the possibility of helping Adam and Nick. If she agrees to cooperate, she could provide the key that allows Nick to confront Matt directly. Nick, meanwhile, is determined to see the mission through to the end. Despite his physical struggles and the stress he's carrying, he refuses to back down. Matt Clark has caused too much damage already, and Nick believes that stopping him is the right thing to do. Yet the risks remain enormous. One wrong move could place everyone involved in serious danger. Back in Genoa City, Chelsea Lawson continues to worry about Adam's involvement in the dangerous operation. She understands why Adam feels responsible for confronting Matt Clark, but she also knows how easily Adam can be pulled back into darker behaviors when he feels cornered. The identity of Spider represents a part of Adam's past that Chelsea hoped would remain buried. The thought of Adam revisiting that world makes her uneasy. Chelsea fears that once Adam steps back into that mindset, it may be difficult for him to return to the man he has worked so hard to become. At the same time, Sally Spectra's conversation with Billy Abbott begins to have a meaningful impact. Billy spends hours reflecting on Sally's advice about his relationship with Jill Abbott. He knows that their history is complicated. There have been countless arguments and disappointments between them, yet beneath all the conflict lies a bond that has never completely disappeared. Sally believes that Billy still has an opportunity to repair that bond. Her words begin to sink in. Billy slowly realizes that holding onto resentment will only keep him trapped in the past. If he truly wants to move forward, he may need to reach out to Jill and attempt to rebuild their connection. The idea makes Billy nervous, but it also gives him a sense of hope. Meanwhile, Lauren Fenmore Baldwin continues to weigh her options regarding Phyllis, Summer's surprising proposal. Phyllis has always been known for her bold ideas and unpredictable strategies. Partnering with her could bring both opportunity and chaos. Lauren knows that working with Phyllis would require a great deal of patience and caution. Yet she also recognizes that Phyllis possesses sharp instincts and a powerful drive for success. If the two women manage to combine their strengths, they could form a formidable team. For now, Lauren keeps her decision close to the vest. Phyllis, however, remains eager to prove that the partnership could work. As the week progresses, tension builds across Genoa City. Relationships are shifting, secrets are threatening to surface, and the consequences of Victor's choices continue to spread. Even with the upcoming broadcast preemptions for March Madness, the drama unfolding in Genoa City shows no signs of slowing down. The conflicts ignited this week will continue to echo throughout the lives of the Newman and Abbott families. Old rivalries are being reignited. New alliances are beginning to form. And in Las Vegas, a confrontation is approaching that could alter the course of several lives. The Young and the Restless promises that the drama is far from over. In fact, for many characters, the real consequences are only beginning.